question in my head, which is a bit different from the usual sales techniques, is the role and the future of artificial intelligence in sales. So, do you foresee sales becoming dependent on AI in the near future?
I do see that there are more and more ways that sales can utilize artificial intelligence and other types of tech um, for enablement. So, to help me do my job better, faster, in a way that's more streamlined, a way that's more efficient, absolutely, there are some wonderful tools that are already available and more coming on the forefront every day. I think that we have to be careful here because there are many AI solutions that measure efficiencies instead of demonstrating more of a cause and effect impact on the results. And that's not because the tools are lacking in any way. It's more often because the sales execution neglects those human to human factors that we were talking about. And buyers still want and need that. So we need both. And we should think about a future that's balanced between both the process and the reporting and the insights about customers. That should all be driven by AI. But the relationship person to person cannot be replaced by AI. And I have to tell you, I am especially interested in some certain types of AI that provide you deep level insights about the customers you're calling on. It helps you to develop those relationships more quickly. But even those were never meant to be substitutes for being here and now in the moment, talking with someone and really responding to them. So balance is what we're aiming for here.
Yeah, I think all the people in sales are, they will be looking out for that. So, Deb, can you share some tips on social selling as well, and how can we utilize it effectively?
Yes, and I think I'll say the same sort of thing here. There's a bit of a theme developing, and that is that while social is great, it's not a replacement. I have seen a lot of people make the mistake of thinking that they can dedicate all their time and effort to social selling, and they've missed the point that really what happens on social is more akin to marketing. You're creating awareness and interest when you're doing something on social. You have to take it to the next level for it to become selling, and that's after the awareness and interest are developed. Well, if I'm going to develop some desire on the part of this buyer, now I've got to do more that's personalized and that is relevant, meaningful, and timely with that buyer. So I've probably now it's time to move this from social into an actual conversation. And those blanket messages on social, they are the least effective. So even when you're thinking about social as a marketing tool, think about the opportunities you have there to make it very, very personalized as opposed to generic.
Okay, yeah. So, Deb, in fact, the episode of your Monday morning sales rally this week was very, very insightful. Multitasking is something that every salesperson is expected to be good at, but it is very difficult. So, can you share some advice on how salespeople can multitask effectively?
Yes. That question, though, is a loaded question you may not realize because it has within it the assumption that we can multitask effectively. And research tells us otherwise. I believe I mentioned it on the Monday Morning Sales Rally, but I'll say it here again. There's a study by a professor at Cornell University, Dr. Michael Hostetler. And Dr. Hostetler's research found that when people are multitasking, their effectiveness is about the same as when people have been drinking alcohol and they get to a level of intoxication that is measured with a blood alcohol level of 0.08. Here in the US, it's illegal in all 50 states to drive a car when you have that level of blood alcohol. So I would caution people when you're multitasking, you may not be as effective as you think you are. So if it's very, very important work, or if it's work where you are directly interacting with a customer, be careful because your work is perhaps not as good as you think it is. People tend to think when they're multitasking that they're doing two things simultaneously, which isn't true. You can't split your brain and have part of your brain focused here while the other part is focused over here. What's really happening is called rapid attention shifting. I'm bouncing back and forth between the two things. And that is why work is so much more exhausting when you try to multitask. It physically is more challenging and more exhausting to go back and forth, and it compromises your effectiveness. Nonetheless, sometimes we have to multitask. I'm finishing up an urgent matter that I have to enter into my system right now, and another customer calls me and I have to take that call right now, and I am trying to do both things. How do I do it? Well, know that it's potentially not as effective as you think it is, so check your work. Minimize how often you do that. Don't make it habitual. Don't do it all the time because you'll always be compromised and more tired. And whenever you can, do what I call time blocking. That would be for very high level important work or work that needs to be completed or something that's timely. Time block. Set aside your calendar for 30 minutes. I'm going to do nothing else. I will not have any distractions. I'm turning off my phone. I'm turning off my pings from my email. And for this time block, I'm only going to focus on one thing. I encourage people to try it. It feels good. It has good results, and you'll get a lot more done in a day than when you're back and forth, back and forth.
The time block sounds like a great technique, a very simple and yet effective solution to multitasking. And I'm sure every person watching this video is going to try it. So, Deb, just before we close, I would like to ask you for some advice for the salespeople out there who are battling the current market conditions due to the pandemic to make a sale.
I'm going to take that in another direction because the number one battle I'm hearing about, and maybe this is just because on the Monday morning sales rally we've invited recently some dialogue about this, but I'm hearing it from so many people. It's surprising to me how many people are feeling discouraged. They're feeling lonely. They're feeling isolated. We've been doing this for a year now, and I think it's catching up with people. We miss being in the same space with others. We miss being able to to just have a quick conversation as opposed to we scheduled a Zoom meeting. It's my 14th meeting of the day, and I'm exhausted from multitasking and being on screen all the time. It doesn't have the same level of just casual check-in, friendly sort of association that we used to have. So the nature of relationships, even with our colleagues, becomes more formalized unintentionally, and that isolates us. It makes us feel just a little bit more lonely. I encourage everyone, if you're feeling anything like that, um, go offline. I don't mean stop working. I mean go offline while you're time blocking, or shut down the computer. Don't set a meeting. Just pick up your phone and call somebody and say, "Hey, how are you doing?" Make it impromptu the way that it would be in an office place, and nobody has to be on screen with makeup on and whatever else. Just, let it be sometimes a little bit more casual. And I encourage especially sales managers to do those kinds of check-ins every once in a while, that sort of reach out to members of your sales team. They may not acknowledge to you that they're having those sorts of feelings, because salespeople are supposed to be invulnerable. We wear this mask of "I've got this" all the time, but the reality is, when given a chance in a safe space to talk about this kind of thing, I believe a lot more people are needing just to know that someone cares and that somebody's reaching out to them, than they might let on.
That's very true in current times. Yeah. Thank you so much, Deb, for your suggestions. I'm sure my audience is going to love your insights. It was wonderful to have you here at Salestors. And to everyone watching this video, thank you so much for watching. Please like and share and subscribe to the channel. You can also head straight to salestors.com and subscribe for all content related to sales. I'll be back very soon with more content only on Salestors. Thank you and goodbye.